Jana Vallabha Girivara
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Oh, prema. All glories to the Supreme Personality. All glories to the Supreme Personality. All glories Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Namaskrityanaram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Jai Guru Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai. 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 Jai Guru Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, canto 4. Chapter 15, the chapter entitled King Pritu's Appearance and Coronation. Shata Chandram Tatambika Arupa Shata Chandram Tatambika Somomrita Mayam Nashvam Vashtarupa Shrayam Ratam Dasha Chandrama Simrudra
Dasha Chandrama Simrudra
Shata Chandram Tatambika
Shata Chandram Tatambika
Somomrita Mayam Nashvam
Somomrita Mayanashvam
Vashtarupa Shrayam Ratam
Vashtarupa Shrayam Ratam
Dasha Chandrama Simrudra
Dasha Chandrama Simrudra
Shata Chandram Tatambika
Shata Chandram Tatambika
Somomrita Mayanashvam
Somomrita Mayanashvam
Vashtarupa Shayam Ratam
Vashtarupa Shrayam Ratam
Dasha Chandrama Samrudra
Dasha Chandrama Simrudra Shata Chandram Tatambika Somomrita Mayanashvam Vashtarupa Shrayam Ratam
Dasha Chandrama Simrudra
Dasha Chandrama Simrudra
Shata Chandram Tatambika
Shata Chandram Tatambika
Samamrita Mayanashvam
Somamrita Mayanashvam
Vashtarupa Shrayam Ratam
Vashtarupa Shrayam Ratam Dasha Chandrama Simrudra Vashtarupa Shrayam Ratam
Not teachers.
Dasha Chandrama Simrudra Shata Chandram Tatambika Somamrita Dasha Chandrama Simrudra Shata Chandram Tatambika Somamrita Mayanashvam Vashtarupa Shrayam Ratam
Dasha Chandram
Dasha Chandram
decorated with 10 wings. Asim
Asim
sword.
Sword
Rudra
Rudra
Lord Shiva.
Lord Shiva
Shata Chandram
Shata Chandram
decorated with 100 moons. Ta in that manner. Ambika the goddess Durga. Soma horses. Twashta demigod. Sorry, the demigod Vishwakarma.
Demigod Vishwakarma
Rupa Ashrayam.
Rupa Ashrayam
Very beautiful.
Very beautiful
Ratam
Ratam
the chariot. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Text 17. Lord Shiva presented him with a sword within a sheath marked with 10 moons, and his wife, the goddess Durga, presented him with a shield marked with 100 moons. The moon demigod presented him with horses made of nectar, And the demigod Vishwakarma presented him with a very beautiful chariot. Text 18. The demigod of fire, Agni, presented him with a bow made of horns of goats and cows, and slippers full of mystic power. The demigods from outer space brought him presentations of flowers again and again. Purport. This verse describes that the king's slippers were invested with mystic powers, Paduke, Yogamayo. Thus, as soon as the king placed his feet in the slippers, they would immediately carry him wherever he desired. Mystic yogis can transfer themselves from one place to another whenever they desire. A similar power was invested in the slippers of King Prithu. Timadandasya Kananjana Shamakaya Chakshurinitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadama Dadati Swa Padantikam Vansha Kalpata Rupyascha Kripasindhu Vyevacha Titanam Avanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this chapter is describing the appearance of King Prithu and his wife. What's his wife's name? Achi. Yeah. So they are living entities, jivas, but jivas who are empowered with the potency of God. So it's called Shakti Yavesh. Avesh, like Vesha means like dress or clothing or covering. Shakti means potency or power. So it means it's a living entity, it's a jiva who is empowered with the potency of God. So it's like covering the living entity. So then they can do things which a normal living entity could not do. An ordinary person could not do. Because we are limited. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he says, I am the ability in man. Which means when we do something, Krishna gives us the ability to do it. If Krishna doesn't give you the ability, then you can't do the thing. It's like, if I want to pick up my watch, I can only do that because Krishna is allowing it. So we have that saying, man proposes, God disposes. So, I want, my desire is to lift my hand. To show all of you independence. Like that's what I'm showing you, giving you an example. If Krishna sanctions that, if Krishna says, no, you're not lifting your hand, then I'm just like, sometimes that happens. You want to do something, we can't do it. So, at other times, we can do things which are well beyond our ability. We know that in Krishna's service. Srila Prabhupada said, in Krishna's service, we should perform Herculean tasks. You should do things which are extraordinary for Krishna. Prabhupada said, I have a disease. I don't know how to think small. So why should we think small? Prabhupada did not think small. You look at everything that Prabhupada has done and did. Just like you go to Mayapur, you see the temple which is being built. It's the biggest dome in the world. It's bigger than the Vatican. St. Paul, St. Peter's, even bigger. So Prabhupada, who has a vision to do these things? So sometimes we have a desire to do something. But unless Krishna gives you the ability and the fulfillment, you cannot fulfill that desire. So Shakti Avesh means that Krishna is directly giving Shakti. And when Krishna gives Shakti, then a jiva can do things which normally would be beyond him. And most of us should have that experience. We've done services. When you're given a service, you think, how can I do it? How is that possible? That I can do that seva? We always think like that. How is it possible that I can do that? Sure, Prabhupada said that within the instruction of the spiritual master comes the desire, comes the ability to fulfill the instruction. So when the Guru gives you an instruction, the Guru says, go and do this service, go and do this seva, then within the instruction, the Guru also gives the ability to fulfill the order that is there. And sometimes we feel like that. The Guru says, go and do something. And we think, how am I possibly going to do that? But he gives the ability within the instruction to. So technically, it's not you who is doing it. Your only credit, the only credit we have, is that we try. We desire to fulfill the instruction. But the actual potency to do it, that comes from the spiritual entity, ultimately from Krishna, working through the Guru. Prabhupada would do that many times to his disciples. He would do it many times. He gave them instructions that were very difficult. 1970, 71, 72, Prabhupada was travelling around India with, say, 40 Western disciples. So they travel by train. Get on the train, they move. So they were going through Delhi, the capital of India. So then the train pulls up. And Prabhupada had maybe 30, 40 devotees with him. Prabhupada turns around and he looks at 4. And he says, get off the train and start a temple. In all seriousness, Prabhupada said like that. So they picked up their bags, got off on the platform. Prabhupada nodded and the train left. There's 4 devotees standing there. Prabhupada said, start a temple. So these things are practically impossible and very difficult to do. But within the order of the Guru comes the ability to fulfill the order. Prabhupada would give many very difficult orders, but the ability is there. So where does that Shakti come from? That Shakti comes from Krishna. So that's what a Shakti Avesh avatar is. It's a jiva who is given power by God to do something as if God himself were doing it. That's what Shakti Avesh. So Prithu Maharaj is a Shakti Avesh avatar. He's a jiva, he's a king, but he's given the ability from God himself to do the activity, as if Krishna was ruling. So extremely powerful personality, not ordinary. Where did he come from? Where did Prithu Maharaj and Archie, where did they come from?
From Vina.
Has anyone read the Bhagavatam?
From Vina.
From?
Vina's body.
From the body, yeah. The Brahmanas took a churning rod, like a piece of. They took a churning rod, like a piece of wood, like that, and they touched the body and began to move it. And then a person comes out. Yeah. Imagine one of the brahmacharis in the ashram sleeping, you come They're not that powerful. These brahmacharis are not that powerful. You cannot produce something from another book distributor was We wish we could do like that. Does not take place. They're extremely powerful. They're churning and then suddenly Archie comes, Prithu Maharaj comes. Shakti Avesh avatars. Not ordinary people. And then you read this description. Because they're not ordinary, they're recognized by all the demigods. The demigods recognize them. So demigods give gifts. Prabhupada himself could be, and devotees have said, could be considered like a Shakti-Vaishnava. Like a jiva who was given so much potency by God, as if God himself is pretty special power like that. Not like an ordinary person. And actually Prabhupada said on different occasions, he would be giving lectures. One time he was in England, they organised a program for Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada went, and no one came. Very rare. No one came, there's no one there. So Prabhupada gave the lecture, just the devotees, he gave the lecture. And then afterwards the devotees apologized. They said to Prabhupada, we're sorry, no one came, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, no, the demigods were there. The demigods had come to listen to Prabhupada speak. Even in London, one temple is there. Radha Londonishwar. Prabhupada's favourite deities actually. They were Prabhupada's favourite deities. First deities, first Radha, Krishna, large deities in the West. So they were Prabhupada's first deities in the West, his favourite. And they were doing Sanja Arti in the evening. And Srila Prabhupada said, Brahma, Shiva, Narada are coming to witness the Arti. So by Prabhupada's potency, the demigods are even coming to see. And even to this day, if you go to there, the little asanas, which are there on the altar, little ones like that. Prabhupada said, keep them there. And he said, Shiva, Narada, Brahma, they will come, they will sit, and whenever there is Arti, they will sit there and they will witness the Arti. It's not ordinary. So Preacher Maharaj is not ordinary, so then the demigods are assisting. They say this is a Shakti-Vaishnava. So it describes here, he was presented with chapal. Chapal means?
Shoes.
Yeah, shoes, slippers, like paduka. The predominating deity of Buraloka presented him with slippers full of mystic power. It says Yogamaya. Yogamaya is Krishna's supreme potency. Krishna has unlimited shaktis. So many energies which emanate from Krishna. Actually, if you see pictures of Krishna, whenever you see a picture, he always has halo, right? Like in the fortress. Right? You always see all the pictures. Right? There's always that there. So what is that? What is that light coming? That's Krishna's Shakti, his energy, his various Shaktis which come. Right? They're all of his energies emanating, just waiting to serve him. And it says the supreme Shakti is Yogamaya. Yogamaya is so powerful that in Krishna's pastimes, Krishna allows Yogamaya even to cover him. Just like last night in our Bhakti Vedanta course in the 10th canto, we were studying chapter 69. And in chapter 69, Krishna is in the 10th canto. And Krishna is visited by Narada in Dwaraka. So Narada is going around different palaces visiting. And Krishna is in different palaces, and doing something different in each palace. Different time of day, different leela going on. So he goes to one palace, and Krishna dresses up incognito, just like in the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra, he dressed up. This is what the kings would do, because they would walk around their kingdom, their capital. Lord Ramachandra was walking around Ayodhya, and he dressed up incognito so no one could recognize it was him. And he would listen to what the citizens are saying about him. No? Because if you ask someone, you say, Prabhu, please tell me my faults. Right? People find that very difficult to do. Right? Your really good friends will tell you. Yeah, if you have some close friends, they'll say something you should know. But most people won't say it. They'll say, oh, no, Prabhu, you're so nice. Right? Everything is perfect like that. But that's not reality. Right? So most people will not say it. So Ramachandra, he was going around, Lord Ramachandra, and listening. And then he heard one of the Shudras criticized, his wife went off and had an affair. The wife came back. Said, no, Ramachandra will accept his wife back. She goes off and she is touched by someone, but I will not do that. So when he heard that, then he was very concerned. So he went back and he said to Sita, you have to leave the kingdom, we're being criticized. Yeah. So Krishna also described last night in the 69th chapter, he was also traveling around. So when Narada saw this, that Krishna is dressing up and disguising himself and going out, he began to laugh. Because it amused him. Because he knows this is Krishna. Savagya. He knows everything. Right? But then he's walking around listening. You know? So if I know everything, like if I'm Savagya, it means I know what's going on in all of your minds right now. I know what you're thinking right now. That's Savagya. That's Krishna. He knows all that. But Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains that he's covered by Yoga Maya. So his Sava Gyatwa Shakti is covered by Leela Shakti. Right? Leela Shakti, Yoga Maya arranges that. That's his potency. I mean, Yoga Maya is facilitating God's pastimes. That's how powerful she is. She facilitates God's pastimes to make him forget so that he can go into the Leela. Otherwise, where's the fun? Krishna's walking around and he's going to listen to everyone and he goes, I already know what they're going to say anyway. And he goes to the next one. I know what they're going to say. I'll go around there. No, I already know what they're going to say. So where's the fun? So she covers him so he can actually perform the Leela, the pastime. So here it is said that the presiding deity of Buraloka gives Prithu Maharaj some chapel which are invested with Yoga Maya potency. Which means, you put those shoes on, you can go anywhere in the universe you want. You just put those shoes on, then you can just be there. Hands up if you would like a pair of shoes like that. If you go down to Foot Locker in Melbourne, you get the most expensive Nike shoes. They just come out. They can actually do this. It's not possible. You can't get those shoes. Otherwise, imagine those shoes. Just like next week, I'm planning to fly to Mayapur. So it means 14 hours on the plane and then get off and then taxi and I'd rather just have a pair of shoes put on in Mayapur. Right? Go to Mayapur for lunch. Just put it on. Go to have darshan of Radha Madhava. Come back. We'd love to have those shoes, but no. They're extremely powerful. Right? So this is given to Prithu Maharaj. Yeah, he has this. Why? Why is he given this? To fulfill his service to Krishna. Why would Krishna not give these shoes to us? Because you do all sorts of things with those shoes. Right? You would not do devotional service. Same thing. Why are we not in the spiritual world now? If you went to the spiritual now, you would cause a lot of problems. That's why we're not there. Because we were there. Yeah, you go back there, you go, wow, look at this place. Every fruit that you can imagine is growing on the trees. You just think, mango, it manifests, kalpavriksha trees. Right? The devotees just go to the trees in the spiritual world. Oh, I want to make Krishna some mango chutney. Mango manifests, pick it, take it like that. That's how it works in the spiritual world. Imagine if you were there. You'd be thinking all sorts of things. You'd be looking at the kalpavriksha tree. Oh, Nike shoes. Ray-Ban sunglasses. Levi jeans. Birkenstocks. I want an Apple computer. All sorts of things would happen. So Krishna will not let us go there. You would disturb the Leela. You'd be sitting there in front of the desire tree all day. Right? And someone say, Haribol, hey, Haribol, come and make some garlands. And you just be like, yeah, just give me 2 minutes. So Krishna cannot trust us. That's why we're not in the spirit. That's why we're in the material world. So you're in the material world, and you're desiring all these things, but you don't get what you desire. You get the opposite of what you desire. That's the material world. To make you become detached. Just like you go out there, there's one tree in the courtyard, there are plum trees in the middle. So you go out there and you stand in front of the fire. Krishna, I want a good wife. And you pray to that plum tree. And then you get a wife who just gives you a headache all the time. That's the material world. Spiritual world, you get what is actually there. Material world, you get the opposite. You look in your life, whatever you desire, you get the opposite. Oh, Krishna, I want nice kids. Your kids are monsters. I want a big house, and you get a small house. I want a nice car, it breaks down all the time. I know one devotee. He spent $3,000, bought a new television. You know, big like plasma television, big television, $3,000. And then he rang me up and he said, there's nothing on television. You know, I worked hard, bought this television, spent $3,000, did all this work, and now I turn it on, there's nothing on. I said, that's why we don't have television. In the material world, you get the opposite. Whatever you want, you get the opposite. That's the material world. Spiritual world, you will get what you desire, but you have to have the right desires. That's why Krishna does not let us back. That's why you're in the material world. Material world key. So you'll stay there. We'll stay in the material world as long as we're attached to the material world. And we are attached. That's the reality. We are attached. So Krishna says, no problem. Stay there. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time. And when you're ready, then you come back and you can serve. So this avatar is called Shakyavesh. Shakyavesh. Actually, Chaitanya Charitamrita describes there are 6 different types of avatar. Avatar means literally means one who descends when it comes to. So what are the 6 types of avatar? Which are they? Very good. You get a free breakfast. you can have extra rasgulla. 6 types of avatars are there. So Purusha. What is Purusha? Purusha means the 3 Purushas. Karana Dakshaya Vishnu, Gama Dakshaya Vishnu, and Shira Dakshaya Vishnu. Karana Mahavishnu is Karana Dakshaya Vishnu. He is situated in the causal ocean. He is the first of the Vishnus. Actually, the first personality, who is the original personality? Krishna. Krishna is the original. It's actually Krishna in Vrindavan. That is the original form of God. Right? He then expands, his first expansion is Lord Balaram. Then, from Balaram comes Chaturvyuha, Adi Chaturvyuha, which means when Krishna goes to Dwarka and Balaram goes to Dwarka, that is the first Chaturvyuha. Vasudev, which means Krishna in Dwarka. Sankarshana, which means Balaram in Dwarka. Right? Pradyumna and Aniruddha, which means Krishna's son and grandson. They're the original. And then from Sankarshana, from Balaram and Dwarka comes Narayan, which means in Vaikuntha. And from Lord Narayan, all the Vaikuntha forms manifest, all the other forms. Okay. And then you have the second Chaturvyuha, which means the presiding deities of Vaikuntha. And then from that Chaturvyuha, from Sankarshana, then comes Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu means, now you go into the material world, and you have the causal ocean. And that's where Mahavishnu lies, and that's where he manifests. So then you'll have the second Sorry, the first expansion. That's the Purusha avatar. And then when he breathes, and then the universe is coming out of his pores as he breathes out. Right? Then it enters into every universe as Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Right? And when he enters into the universe, what is the shape of the universe?
Egg.
Yeah, like an egg, oval. Right? So he lies in, and it's like being in a sauna. It begins to perspire. And that perspiration becomes the Garbhodaka ocean. It fills up half the universe, and he lays there on another station. And then from his navel comes a lotus, right? And then on top of that lotus, Lord Brahma manifests. And then within that universe, there is one planet called Sweta Dvip. And on that planet, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. That's a third manifestation, third Purusha. And then he manifests as Supersoul, Paramatma, in every atom in that universe. And whenever the incarnations enter into the universe, they come through Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So that's the Purusha avatars. Any questions? On Purusha avatar? Anything new? Everyone understand? Quite clear. Right. Then, next is Leela avatar. Now, what is a Leela avatar? Yeah, perform pastimes. Yeah. Krishna is incarnation. So Krishna is Krishna. If you read in Nectar of Devotion, he has 4 moods. Irodatta, Dhirodatta, Dhyoladita, Dhiprashanta, like different moods that Krishna has. So when Krishna wants to perform different pastimes or be in a different mood, then he expands himself. It's called Leela avatar. So Lord Ramachandra, that is Krishna in the mood of being a perfect, like human being. Yeah, he shows the perfect example, Lord Ramachandra. Krishna will sometimes act according to his desires. So he may not always follow like social morality perfectly, from an external point of view. He just absorbs himself in his own lila. But Lord Ramachandra, he will always act perfectly. So when Krishna wants to show that, he wants to perform that pastime, that he manifests. Or Nrsimhadev, Nrikeshari, this Nrsimha avatar. That is Krishna when he is angry. When God becomes angry, he turns into a half man, half lion. Just like when we become angry. You look at someone when they're angry, it's like they begin to manifest. It's like you think, oh, they become like ferocious. Krishna becomes so angry when he's angry. What makes him angry? When his devotees are being mistreated. And he becomes so angry, he turns half lion. Right? And he grabs Hiranyakashipu. He rips him apart. So angry. Even it says, one time when he comes so many times. One time when he comes, he's so big that when he picks up Hiranyakashipu, it says in the Bhagavatam, he puts him on his lap, but he's so big, like Hiranyakashipu is like that big. He rips him with his fingernails, and then he goes, can't even find it. He's so big, so angry, he goes, and he just rips him like that. So Leela avatar. So Purusha avatar, Leela avatar, Guna avatar. Guna avatar means the deities who control the modes of nature. Yeah, who control the modes of nature. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. So who controls the mode of goodness? Lord Vishnu. And then mode of passion is Lord Brahma. And mode of ignorance is Lord Shiva. So mode of passion, if you want to create something, you have to get passionate. You have to work hard. Hey Prabhu, wake up, get off the ground, start doing something. You have to get a little bit passionate. So Lord Brahma, to create, he has to become passionate. But he doesn't let passion control him. Right? He doesn't become overwhelmed. He just uses it, just like it's like a machine. Like if you pick up a hammer, right? You don't let the hammer control you. You don't go crazy, just start smashing it. Oh, you pick it up, you do something with it, and you put it down. So Rajaguna is like that. Sometimes we have to become a little bit passionate. Like we go to catering jobs, right? You have to go a little bit passionate. You don't let it control you. Right? You just get work, you work hard, and then you let go of it. Right? So it's Lord Brahma in control. Lord Shiva is in control of ignorance, because he has to destroy this universe. Destruction, when you destroy something, that's tamasic. That's the mode of ignorance. The same thing, he just usually destroys it, he's not controlled by it. Lord Shiva is transcendental. And the hardest mode of nature to stay in is the mode of goodness. The mode of goodness means you don't fall asleep in the Bhagavatam. When you fall asleep, that is the mode of Dhamma. The mode of goodness means not. Mode of goodness means you are present. That's the hardest mode to be in. And actually, Srila Prabhupada says, to make advancement in devotional service, you have to do it from the mode of goodness. So we have to rise to the mode of goodness. You have to elevate yourself through ignorance, through passion, get to the mode of goodness. Then you can practice devotional service effectively. Right? Because the spiritual world is Shuddha-sattva. Right? It's pure goodness. So we have to practice in this world so we can elevate it. Lord Vishnu is in control of that, because that's the hardest to maintain. So he maintains it. So you have Guna, Purusha, Lila, and then you have Yuga. Yuga avatar means the deity who is in control of the particular Yuga. Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. There's a particular avatar who shows the Yuga Dharma, or the process of perfection within a particular age. So in such a yuga, you become perfect through? Yeah, like meditation means just sitting there and just meditating on the super soul. Right? That's not easy to do. Right? So incarnation comes, he shows us. Whitish incarnation comes, Shukla. Right? And then you have Treta Yuga. You become perfect through doing yajnas. So then there is one yajna, one reddish incarnation. He comes, he shows that. In Dwapara Yuga, you become perfect through deity worship. And Krishna himself appears in Dwapara Yuga. Sometimes he's said to be like the presiding deity of Dwapara Yuga. He is there, you can worship him. You can make a deity of him, you can worship him. And then in Kali Yuga, we have to do Nam Sankirtan. Because not all the devotees can easily do deity worship. Actually, Prabhupada prescribes, he recommends that we do both. Deity worship and hearing and chanting. Bhagavad Gita, Panchalatri, you have to do both. Because if you do deity worship, it purifies the consciousness and it makes it easier to chant. And vice versa. When you chant nicely, then you can do deity worship in the right consciousness. Supposed to be. But especially, because in Kali Yuga not easy for everyone. Some people find it difficult to do deity worship, then you can just become perfect by hearing and chanting. Chanting the holy name of Krishna. And Gauranga himself, Krishna comes again in that pita, in that yellow form, to teach us how to do that. Just chant the holy name. Actually, Prabhupada says, you can just do Sankirtan, hearing and chanting, just chant right in front of God in time, you can go back to Godhead. You don't even have to take second initiation. You can just chant right there in front in this temple room, not even walk into the deity room. You can just chant it and you can go back to Krishna. That's how powerful it is. That means you have to chant purely. Chanting purely is not so easy. So Kartik is about to begin next couple of days. Some devotees start tomorrow, some devotees start on Thursday. I start tomorrow. Your choice, as you do. The temple will start on Thursday. But, either Purnima or Pratipa, whatever you prefer. But get ready, because either tomorrow or the next day. And then, what is the point of Kartik? We do extra service. We do extra chanting. We do extra things to purify our consciousness. You know, I'm meditating on Kartik. I want to chant more nicely. You know, increase the quality. One thing I can do in Kartik, one thing, if I can achieve, is to increase the quality of my chanting. Chant more purely the holy names of Krishna. You know, Kartik is very powerful. 1 month. Right? That month is controlled by the presiding deity. Presiding deity is Srimati Radharani herself, the most merciful personality. Whatever service you do in Kartik, you get thousands of times more benefit. It's so powerful. So if you chant very sincerely, it's an opportunity to elevate our consciousness very quickly and very rapidly. So we should take advantage. It's coming. Either start tomorrow or the next day, but it is coming. And 1 month. So, you know, everyone should take vrata. Vrata means you take some vows. Every day I will come for Mangalati. Every day I will chant 17 rounds, or 25 rounds, or 32 rounds, or 65. Whatever. Every day I will read 1 chapter of Krishna. One brahmachari, he used to live here, Bhakti Sadhu. He took a vow a few years ago. He would read every verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. In 1 month. I mean, he had to read for 3 or 4 hours a day. He did it. 18,000 verses in 1 month. Read the whole Bhagavatam. Another devotee, Harinamananda Prabhu, now he's travelling. We try to catch him every time he comes past, but he just keeps travelling. He travels around the world. He took a vow, he would do Harinam every day. Sometimes I think he went out by himself. Just went down to Sankirtan to start chanting on the streets. He took that pride. So whatever your vow is, you take it. Many years ago I took the vow I would not eat sweets for the whole month. 1 month, no sweets. I don't do that anymore. that was too austere. I nearly left my body. That was very austere. But I did. But we should do something for Krishna. How do you show your love for him? You make sacrifice. So we have to do something for Krishna. You choose whatever you want to do. Something else. It says in the Shastra every day you have to offer a lamb. You have to offer the canto, you have to lamb, and you have to sing Damodara Ashtaka. It says that every day. But many devotees chant multiple ashtakas. Different. Shad Goswami Ashtaka, Shiv Shastika, Damodara Ashtaka. Brinda Devi Ashtaka, different ashtakas. So you choose what you want to do. Your vrata is between you and Krishna, but you should take some vrata to increase your bhakti. So Yuga Avatar, Lila Avatar, Purusha Avatar, Guna Avatar, Manvanta Avatar. Manvanta Avatar means Krishna himself becomes the Manvanta, becomes the Manu, who increases the progeny within the universe. Shakyaveshavata means he becomes the personality. It means he gives the power to that particular jiva. What are examples of the Shakyaveshavata? Prithu Maharaj, we're reading to us. Parashuram. The Kumars. Narada. Rishabh. Yeah. Yeah. Another solution. So different like that chakra. So these are all the different types of avatars. We have to understand Bhagavatam is a science. You have to understand all these things because especially you go to in the West, people don't even know this. You go and knock on the door next door. Right? There's 197. Now you go to 195 next door. Go and knock on the door and say, Prabhu. The man opens the door. You say, Prabhu. You say, what does Prabhu mean? They say, can you please tell me what is the Shaktaveshavata? You'll just say, shut the door. People don't even know. But in India, they know all these things. I heard this name Shakti, but they don't understand it at all. Everything is kitchery in India. Just get all the avatars, throw them in the pot, and just mix it up. No one knows. No one understands. That's the problem. They don't understand. Don't understand the science of God. ISKCON devotees have to understand it very carefully. You have to know which avatar is which. There are 6 types. Who is who? How does everyone relate to everyone? Shiva is not the same as Krishna. If you go to India, you're like, Krishna, Shiva, Brahma, all is one. Krishna, I have no idea what they're talking about whatsoever. I was sitting on the train going from Calcutta to Jagannath Puri, and one man is sitting up, he sees we're dressed like devotees, so he starts to give us the absolute truth. He's going to teach us. So we're sitting there, myself and Radha Prabhu, Sri Radha Prabhu's disciple. So we're sitting, he was sitting there, I was sitting there, and then this man starts preaching to us. And Radha looks at me and he said, you want to deal with this or should I deal with it? I said, you deal with it, because I was just checking my rounds. I didn't want to get into this stuff. So he had to correct him. He's saying all this, Jagannath is, he had no idea what he's talking about. This is the problem. In the West, people are attached to karma, sense gratification. In the East, they're confused by jnana. So, jnana and karma, they overcome bhakti. In ISKCON, bhakti is prominent, karma and jnana are subsidiary. We have the right understanding. And we have to teach the whole world what is correct. So we have to understand this science very carefully. Everyone has to become a scholar. What was Prabhupada's title? Bhakti Vedanta. Bhakti Vedanta. His godbrothers gave him that title. Right? Abhay Charanaravinda, Bhakti Vedanta. He was given that title. Why? He was very learned. We have to become like that. Prabhupada wants all of us to become. We have to get Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta, and maybe one day Bhakti Sattva. We have to know the Shastra. So someone comes here, we say, this is not correct, what you're saying is not correct, you have to understand it like this. Based on the authority of the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is the authority. It's the final authority. So we have to learn these things. Otherwise everyone's confused. Okay. So we'll stop here, we'll see if there's any question or comment.
We talked about 3 Purusha avatars, and we also talked about Guna avatar Vishnu. So which of these Guna avatar Vishnu is the one of the 3 Purusha avatars or the 4th one?
Both. Both. He's a Purusha avatar. He's also a Guna avatar.
All the 3 are Guna avatars.
Yeah, you can say that. Particularly, you would say Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Because Karanodakshaya Vishnu is more outside the universe. He doesn't get himself involved inside the universe. So, yeah, Mamatara said very quickly. I will just discuss it very quickly. Mamatara is a little technical. Bhanu Swami gives a very nice description about Mamatara. He goes a bit deeper into it. So.
When you were speaking about the 3 modes of material nature, you said that sometimes we get into mode of passion and we should use it but not get used by it. But just because a person is very active, it doesn't mean that he's in a mode of passion, right? Because, you can be very active, do so much, but you can still be in a mode of goodness.
It's how you do it, that's the point. How you do it. Just like you see Prabhupada. Prabhupada was very active in Krishna, but he was always very composed and very equipoised. Mode of goodness means you're doing a lot, but you're very calm and very peaceful. When someone's in the mode of passion, everything becomes like... You see, in the mode of passion, everything's always running late. Devotees are doing so much, but they're always rushing. Oh, I've got to do this. Did you ever see Prabhupada running somewhere? Prabhupada was never... No, Prabhupada was always very composed. He's always punctual, he's always on time, he's always doing it. Very active, but everything is very controlled. The mode of passion means that, our disposition changes. So we have to avoid that. We have to be active for Krishna, but active from the mode of goodness. Because when you become too much controlled by the mode of passion, you start becoming angry at everyone and offending people and like that. So you have to be careful how you act. Be active, but still in the mode of goodness. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Do you have some advice? Like, I think I asked you before, but do you have some advice how to come to the platform of the mode of goodness?
You come to the platform of the mode of goodness by following sadhana bhakti. Rising early, primarily. That will bring you into the mode of goodness. If you have good sadhana, and you like that. And then it means having a balanced program. Sometimes we get so much service, it's hard to maintain the mode of goodness because you become too tired or you have to become too passionate. So then you have to speak to your authorities and say, Prabhu, I need a bit more balance here. Sometimes Prabhupada calls it emergency. So sometimes it's emergency, we have to like you go on a catering job. It's kind of like an emergency. So 6 of you, you'd have to cook. It's like, so for those 3 or 4 days, you have to get really intense. And you have to just push yourself. But then when you come back, you have to have a more balanced program. Yeah, you can't be like passionate just all the time. It's not good for devotional service. And you become too tired, you might go there. Yes, Martin?
The way to overcome the way we get attached and to which guna we belong depends on what kind of sense objects and we enjoy in material world and what kind of activities. Everything in material world is divided in mode of passion, mode of ignorance, and mode of goodness. All the activities, all the sense objects are divided in these groups. And if you enjoy the sense objects in the mode of ignorance, for example, meat, alcohol, drugs, you will get attached to the mode of ignorance, you will experience the effect of that mode. And your heart will be tainted with the mode of ignorance.
Yeah.
When we do activities, as you mentioned, rising up in the morning, enjoying for example, food in mode of goodness, enjoying music. Music can be a mode of goodness. We attach to transcendental sense objects. We don't get attached to the mode of goodness, but I'm just for sake of saying, we have music in mode of goodness, and so whatever, with our choices we make of our activities and whatever sense objects we decide to enjoy, that will determine what mode we are going to belong. It depends on our choices and our activities. And we know, we may, from previous lives, we may have been tainted with mode of ignorance, mode of passion, and by engaging in the mode of goodness activities and or transcendental activities, so gradually the modes of passion and ignorance they disappear.
Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sangat Sanjayate Karma. Karma means your desires. Comes from your association. Whoever you associate with, that's what you become. Hiranyakashipu said that. He said to Prahlad, Prahlad was becoming a devotee. He said, be very careful of your association. Because whoever you associate with, you will become. That's true. Whoever you associate with, that's what you become. So you have to be very careful of who you associate with. If you want to become a devotee, you have to associate with devotees.
That's also association with the sense objects through all the 5 senses.
Yeah. Any other question?
So you mentioned before that about the Yuga avatar. So each Yuga avatar, he teaches the Yuga Dharma. So when Krishna appeared in the last Yuga, he did not really teach people deity worship, did he? Was it different?
There's another incarnation, another form, which comes, which is teaching that. But in one sense, Krishna is the Yuga avatar also because he is the deity. So he's teaching deity worship. Because you see, he's the Supreme Lord. So we'll make a deity of him, and then we'll begin to serve him according to the Pancharatra system. But there was also like a particular incarnation that comes and also teach. Krishna also. Krishna did deity worship also while he was here. So
Yeah, the deity of Lord Narayana.
In Vrindavan, in Nandagram, his father would worship the deity of Lord Narayana. So it's like part of their home deity worship.
Yeah.
Like they would cook in the morning, Mother Yashoda would cook, and then they offer the bhoga to Lord Narayana, and then comes prasad, and then they offer the prasad to Krishna. So Krishna, in his leela, that he enjoys playing along to them.
Yeah.
Actually, he's
Sure.
you can just offer straight to him. But
Sure.
that's the system. They don't, because everyone's covered by the Leela Shakti Yoga Maya, they don't see him as being God. So
Yeah, sure.
Prabhu, we're talking about the Kali Yuga and the Yuga Dharma, and you said Nama Sankirtana, and so performing the chanting of holy name together. So performing Nama Sankirtana here in the temple is enough to go back to Godhead. So why should we perform it on the streets as well? Why did Srila Prabhupada desire us to do that?
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu desired that. Yeah. So you can take everyone back with you. Don't just liberate yourself, but liberate everyone else. Don't just be worried about yourself. If you're worried about yourself, that's called Bhajananand. Then you're concerned about your spiritual advancement. But our lineage, our tradition is Gosjana, which means we're interested in preaching. We want others to become Krishna conscious. But when you help others become Krishna conscious, then we become Krishna conscious. So like if you're chanting here, you're feeling very ecstatic, like Gaur Purnima, in the morning we're having kirtan, feeling very ecstatic. Then the feeling comes, let's take this out to everyone. So then we go out and distribute to everyone else as well.
And is there a restriction in terms of performing that on the street? Do you have to be, because obviously like I consider myself like a beginner and I don't have like a taste for learning, but do we require that first perform the sadhana and then when we feel something is happening then we can share, or is are we allowed to go and chant? And is there?
What do you think?
I sometimes think both because I go on the street but sometimes I feel nothing inside, so like I feel like I'm doing nothing on the street.
Yeah, so then you have to follow the order of the spiritual master. How do you make advancement in spiritual life? You follow the order of the Guru. What's the instruction of the Guru? You chant 16 rounds every day. You took a vow, 16 rounds every day. So now you're following the instruction of the Guru. And the Guru's instruction is that you give the holy name to others. So you go out on the street and you give it to others. So both things you're following the instruction of the Guru. If you do that, the taste will come. You have to cultivate the taste. Devotees shouldn't say that. Actually, devotees should never say, I don't have any taste for chanting. If you don't have any taste for chanting, that means you have to seriously look at your spiritual life and you have to work. Right? Because every devotee should have a taste for chanting. Okay, sometimes we struggle, like 16 rounds like Whanau, that's difficult, but it shouldn't be like that every day, it shouldn't be like that all the time. There should be, most of the time actually, we should be enjoying it. We should be getting a taste. If you chant 16 rounds, you're not getting a taste, there's something seriously wrong with your application of the process. Right? Because there's nothing wrong with the holy name. The holy name is full of bliss. Right? It is no different from Krishna. Nama Chintamani, Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. It's Rasa Vigraha. So you're chanting, Prabhupada says, Radha and Krishna dancing on your tongue. So if we're feeling like we don't have any taste, then, especially when you're on a Harinam or something, you should feel ecstatic, you should feel blissful. You should run up the walls and run along the roof and then go down. Like Lord Nityananda's associates. They were chanting. They used to run up the trees and go on the branches and come down. Sometimes they would lift the whole tree and pull it out of the ground and drop it on the ground. So you should be like that in Swanston Street. You go down Swanston Street, grab one of those trees and drop on the ground. And then you call out to the Lord Mayor, hey! Everyone chant. Holy name. Hare Krishna. Everybody chant holy name. That's easy. The next is, why miss the boat? Yeah, you're chanting 16 rounds and the like, oh no, Jason, what are you doing? Yeah, go and become a Buddhist. Yeah, go and sit in the Buddha ashram. Go and do that. If you're going to chant, then get a taste for the chant. Don't waste time. Especially Kartik is coming. You should be in ecstasy from the chant. Yeah. Any other questions?
I was just thinking about reflecting on the mode of passion activities and mode of goodness. The difference between them is that mode of passion they do a lot of activities and they achieve less. Mode of goodness they're more efficient. They with less activities they achieve more because their intelligence and their organization is much better. The other thing, the difference, which even for the same activity, two people they can perform same activity, but the difference is one can be mode of passion, one can be mode of goodness, depending on the motives of the person. So if the activity is driven by the personal desire, me, mind, and for some gain or some safety, that's why Krishna says, attend only neighbors for gain and safety. That will be in mode of passion. Mode of goodness is when you do perform your duty because it's the right thing to do, and when you perform your duty. So that's the difference as well when we can judge. And that's why usually mode of passion activities end up in frustration and how we say all the activities in mode of passion end up with misery. It versus enjoyment, and because we do it for our personal needs, and it's not how it works. Constitutionally, we cannot get satisfaction by trying to please ourselves, and we all want to get that satisfaction.
Any other points?
When we spoke about how we are in the morning in Word of Goodness, we did a morning program, but by the evening we come like, okay, we've done everything in the morning, and maybe some reading as well later. But by the end of the day, you feel like, okay, I'm again on the on zero level because in the morning, no responsibility, there's nothing to do. Even if you have time, you don't want to do it.
What's the point?
Okay, everything is finished in the morning. I know we should chant more if you could spare time, but it doesn't come like you don't want to do it. How to do it that, okay, even my quota is done, how to keep doing more and more.
Yeah, Prabhupada says, he talks about the ISKCON sandwich, so it means there has to be spiritual life, or sadhana, there has to be sadhana in the morning and the evening. So in the evening you can read, or if there's a program in the temple, come to the temple, do some sanjahati, do some kirtan, or chant some japa, or whatever it is. Do some deity worship, come and worship the deities in the evening. Like that. So there should be sadhana in the morning and in the evening. Daytime we do preaching activity, or if you have to go to work, you go to work, do whatever you do. But in the morning and the evening there has to be some sadhana. So you remember Krishna. Prabhupada says, if you read Krishna book before you go to bed, you will dream of Krishna. I've been doing that for many years. I've never dreamt of Krishna. But then if I keep doing it, then maybe one day I'll dream of Krishna. That's the goal. Is that okay? Any other question? Srila Prabhupada.